Hello, the game has started. It's my opponent to go first. I've got a good rack. I can't see a 7, but through an I would have vitamins or nativism. Can't see any other 8s, but in terms of sorting the rack out, a player Vim would leave quite a good rack leave. So it's a balanced rack, good mixture of vowels and consonants and no duplicates. There could be some other 8s. Okay, no I, so I do need to think. Can't see anything with the T or the H. And what about the Y? No, so the E is the main prospect. So what about visement? I think this is good, and I don't think it's got any anagrams. Maybe it's just with a Z. Okay, it's not good. So is there an anagram of visement? And I'm imagining the S at the end of the word. It looks a pretty good combination, and it would be a shame to miss a bingo if there is one there. So I've got man and men as a prefix. I've got IVE as an ending. I've got ism and miss. Well, nothing's coming to mind. And I do have a nice spot for Vim here, which doesn't give... over here, rather. Which doesn't give very much away, since V doesn't take any letters to the right. So Vim for 23. Not good, just the one vowel. I do still have the E available because of Vims. But I can't see anything which works through that. The duplicate S not particularly helpful. So a play of something like dads or dance is likely to be needed to sort this rack out. Through AR I would have standards. I can't see that being available. I do have TI in row F. Not seeing anything through that. I don't think they takes an S. Sure it doesn't. HM takes an M. Vim takes nothing in front. And my rating has indeed dipped down into the 1700s. I'm not sure if it's ever been that low. Okay, my opponent appears to have vowels. Double E, I don't think is particularly helpful. So, Ohm takes an S. I can play stand for 17. And I can't see anything better. Okay. It's nice, always nice to see the X, or almost always nice. I don't have a bingo with this rack. But apart from the U and the X, the remaining tiles are pretty bingo-y. So if I could play off XU and score well, that would leave a decent rack leave. Board's pretty tight. Ohms takes nothing before or after it. V only takes 6 tiles after it. So all of the action is in the bottom right, and hooking double E. Waifed, I think, takes an S at the end. Yes, it does. So what can I do with my X and my U? Well, I've got tucks for 20. And I'm not seeing anything else. except I am, and I think I'll play this. Ducks for 31. It's a bigger score than 20. It's 11 more points, and I'm jettisoning the D, which is slightly evening up vowels and consonants. The ideal ratio or balance of vowels and consonants is to have 2 more consonants than vowels. So with 1 vowel, I'm looking to retain 3 consonants, and ducks achieves that. I'm going with this. Pretty good. Could easily be a bingo here, but is there? Well, I'm not seeing a 7. I've got the floating T to consider. Not seeing anything with that. Now, does an E make a difference? I think panniers is good, but the E's in the wrong place for that. Does panniers have an anagram? Well, it might. If it does, it only has 1 anagram. It's not coming to mind, and I'm not seeing anything through the N. So a slightly frustrating rack. Goo takes nothing in front. So the gadgy play has, or this ladder has really closed down the top of the board. Top right available in column 12. And there's the floaters in row M and the S hook for waifed. So it's not a blocked board, but it's not an open board either. So with not many score, with just the P as a scoring tile, I'm looking at the other scoring tiles on the board in terms of generating score. I can play Ninja, which is what I'm thinking of doing. Only 24 points, which isn't great. The rack leaves okay, especially if I draw vowels, and given the floating I. I can't see a way of playing the P off with the J and one of the N's and getting the play doubled. Prajna would require 2 A's. So, this doesn't feel great, but I'm going with it. Pretty good. I have respray, prayers, and sprayer. So, do any of those actually play? Well, they don't play in row N. Gadji only takes an S, waifed only takes an S. So, what about column 12? Yes. Repraise works. AW takes an E and an A after it, not an S. So I do have a bingo in... well, it's respray is what I'd want to play, not repraise. I don't think repraise is good. It's respray, sprayer, and prayers, and respray in any event would score more than repraise. And that would also be making awa and nay. Now, hopefully my opponent's distracted by my board opening play of Ninja. Might tuck in a little 3-letter play underneath. Anything really, provided column 12 is left alone. I am 14 points behind my opponent on turn, so if my opponent doesn't bingo, respray should put me into the lead. Now, supposing column 12 is blocked, do I have a bingo through the T of waifed? Partiers. Great. Wow, look at that. 31 points and the opponent burns the blank. And I don't think that means she necessarily has another blank, but she may. And I'm only calling her she because of the word girl in her name. That's not determinative. So no new bingo lanes opened. I've got partiers, which places an S in the middle of column 15, so a respray definitely preferable. Respray, hour and nay for 88. Just checking that there isn't a deeper overlap. Quite a few options to consider. So prayers fails just at the F point. Yeah, I think respray is the only one. 88 points. Not bad. I'm 40 points in the lead, which is pretty slender given my opponent's on turn. But the board isn't particularly open. I have ovarian on my rack. Does that play? So close. If only RA was good. And RN. Very close. And I can't see anywhere else for it. But my opponent may open the board up. The board is tight, so limited opportunities to play. Do I have anything through the T? Not that I can see. This looks like a rack which does make 8s. But I'm not seeing any. Hour only takes a Y after it. Q takes an I after it, but ovarian doesn't have any anagrams. And I can't see anything with ovarian plus an I. A tight board is not a bad thing when you're nursing a slender lead. The problem is that it's very rare for a tight board to have no bingo lanes. And if you are nursing a tight lead and your opponent finds one of those bingo lanes, it can be tricky to get back in the game. But on balance, a tight board is beneficial for somebody who has a small lead. Still looking at this T in case there's an 8 with it, but I think I would have seen it by now. So at the moment I have no candidate plays. I haven't thought of anything to do if my opponent doesn't provide an opening for ovarian. I don't have avatar. I would need 3 A's. Do I have something with the V doubled? No, not that I can see. R only takes an E after it, but it does take an A and an O in front. But I can't see anything particularly attractive in column 11. Vowels next to premium squares are generally hotspots because of the scores you can generate with high scoring tiles. But the E not as dangerous as some vowels because none of the really high scoring tiles go in front of it. Okay, opponent momentarily left but is back. Now, do I have something beginning with R and using the V? I certainly want to play off the A and the V. Although these are fairly bingo-y tiles, they're not bingo-y enough to really hanker after retaining a bunch of them. So I'd be quite happy to play something like Avion. Now, I was just thinking about playing Virino. IR not good. And the anagram is Virion, which also doesn't play. 11 minutes on my opponent's clock, 13 on mine. And I'm still without a candidate play. I guess I could play Favour. Only 24 points, and it's providing 2 floaters. I think a better play than that would be Vor, V-O-A-R, both having the demerit of retaining a vowel-heavy rack leave. So what about something in column 3 VINI. Well, I can't see anything. I want to play the V because it's not a bingo-y tile. My opponent taking a while, which could indicate that she does have the second blank. Let me have a look at the publicly available information. Nope, I shan't do that. My opponent has played. So, opponent's played in my Vor spot. Nearly creates the ability to play Ovarian. It just fails at the RN stage. I don't have a play ending in B. So I was looking at the possibility of playing something like Avo or Over. 2 ends to come. OVA. That doesn't feel great. So opponent hasn't opened the board up, but is only 15 points behind. I don't feel great about this. Vor for 23, it's leaving a vowel-heavy Rackley, which isn't ideal, although only 2 A's to come. The real danger is in drawing one of these 5 I's. The only bingo lane I'm opening is column 14, and any bingo in that lane would open up column 15, and also any bingo in column 14 would not get doubled, so it would be a low-scoring one. So I think, on balance, this is fine. I dodged the I's. I don't see a bingo with this rack, but it's a fairly balanced rack. It's not a troublesome one. I've got the S, which is good for hooking Gadgey and Waifed. Only 1 S to come. And a bingo now would be really helpful. Although Gadgey and Waifed take S's, neither is available for a 7-letter play ending in S, so not quite as useful an opening as it otherwise would be. This board is super tight. It's tight for both of us in terms of making plays. Not many scoring opportunities which don't open up the board. And the bow player's taken out the hot spot next to the E of respray. 4 is really, really nice because apart from opening a bingo lane, it provides nothing at all. I've still got an eye for going after the Q. But I can't see an I something I play with this rack. Apart from minis, which burns the S. 32 points. So, worth bearing in mind. I can't see anything with the T. Right, opponent running down her clock. Let me have a look at her publicly available information. Okay, not too much available there, but played a ton of games, which is good. And number of unfinished games low, which is also good. Now, opponent has played Cuter, which is quite nice because there is an A front hook. And I can really sort my rack out with Mand. The rack lever of INS is pretty good. It is providing a floating D, not massively dangerous. So, and 38 points is a good score. I have Pinkins, no F for it. Acuta doesn't take an S. Can't see anything with the D. Just looking around in case I've overlooked a bingo lane. I am 60 points ahead, so if opponent does bingo in row A, she's likely to take a 20 or 30 point lead, which won't be great. Now I have Kinin in column 3, K-I-N-I-N, for 40 points, which is going to be a pretty good play if opponent doesn't bingo. and a play I can make if my opponent does bingo. So I hope it's good. I don't think Pinkins has an anagram. The T-hook has been taken out by Cuter, so really very few bingo lanes to consider. There's just the 7-letter lane in column 14 and row O through the D. And possibly row N with a play ending S blank blank N, which I don't have. "31 tiles in the bag, which is quite a lot, and opponent running her clock down to just 6 minutes. So I'm inclined to play reasonably quickly, especially as I've identified a 40-point candidate play. I'll have to think of an alternative play if that is taken, because at the moment I don't have one. I guess I could just play Kin. Not a great play, but it scores 17 points and it disrupts the D. I've got Rink for 24, and that has merit because the K is not a particularly useful floater for a bingo, and Rink sorts out the duplicate N, gets rid of the K, and the rack lever pens is quite flexible. The N would just about be available as the 4th or 5th tile in a bingo, but that's quite a specific requirement. So does my opponent have the blank? Is this the reason for her slow play? Plenty of great racks out there. Wow, just 7 points and taking out a bingo lane while she is 50 points behind. Interesting. And I have my Kine in play, which now becomes even more attractive because the D is completely unusable by dint of my opponent's play, and Kine scores well. Is it good? Yes, it is. FP lacks synergy, but I'm in a strong position here. I'm 90 points ahead. There is only one bingo lane, there are 2 bingo lanes. There's column 14. There's also column 4 for bingos ending in A. Only one A in the bag, and that's quite tricky. So do I do something about column 14? It's quite hard to do something about it because anything in column 14 is likely to open column 15, which I don't want to do. So I might just leave that. Or I could play something beginning with the R. But I wouldn't want to play Rape because the E is too useful as a floater. So the game will get quite close if my opponent bingos, but I would hope to have something available in column 15. 23 tiles in the bag. And opponent running down to her last 4 minutes. F and P are my scoring tiles. I have seen nothing so far. I guess I could play Fen. 14 points. Great, another play by my opponent which doesn't open the board up. I think I'll play Fen, or will I? Only 14 points. I'm opening up a 6-letter lane, which is of more use to me than my opponent. But why give my opponent an opportunity at all? I don't have any extensions to drill. I could just play FA. 18 points, providing nothing, keeping a very balanced rack leave. And, well, keeping the E and the S for bingos in column 14. I don't need to rush to end the game. I think this is the best I've seen. Well, no 7 here. Let me look at the remaining vowels. 14 out of 26. Quite a vowel-heavy bag. But my lead, nearly 100 points, so I'm in a strong position. But I'm not over the line. Column 14 still lurking. And what column 14 will do, if opponent bingos, is open up more than one triple word square. So I may be able to use one and then opponent get a big score elsewhere, especially with the Z out there. That hasn't happened. Opponent plays off 2 tiles, G and T. Interesting in a vowel-heavy, unseen bag situation. Now I'm thinking of playing Foe. 18 points. And providing not very much, but something. I am providing a spot for 7-letter lanes ending in S. But I don't think that's giving away too much. And slow playing helps me in another way, in that my opponent is short on time. So she won't, if we have a lot of remaining moves, she'll have less and less time to spend on each one. I draw 2 more vowels, not massively surprising. Opponent changes. Interesting. So what to do here? I don't have a bingo. I don't want to create a bingo lane for my opponent. I've got 9 minutes. The P is my scoring tile, but there's nowhere on the board to play it. Well, what about this? What about playing OE, which takes out the bingo lane in column 14? It leaves a super bingo-y balanced rack. It provides very little. If anything, it tempts my opponent to make a play beginning RE. And this 5-letter rack leave goes well with pretty much any floater. I'm going with this. Not great. But I'm 113 points in the lead, so I'm in quite a strong position. I don't think wipiest is good. I think it's swipiest. There could be some 8s with this rack, but it's not a great rack. The rack lever spite was pretty good, but I and W probably amongst the worst tiles to draw to it. But I think it's an indication of its strength that even drawing badly, this rack is fine. I don't plan on using the RE opening myself. Opponent down to just 1 and a bit minutes on her clock with 13 tiles in the bag. So I'm happy with this rack, but I've seen absolutely no plays I'm thinking of making. I guess what I'd like to do is play off what I drew, the I and the W, or possibly IWI. Great, only 7 points and nothing provided. Given that I've taken out the bingo lane, this S becomes pretty useless. So maybe I should use it. 11 tiles left. I'm thinking about playing Ys. only 24 points and providing an easy 20-point play in row O. That's not great. I could play Whist or Iwis, but that is opening a bingo lane, so I'm not doing that. Gadgies is good. So what I could do is spin. It's retaining the W for score, it's balanced. 27 points is a good score. It's providing nothing at all, so it's got a massive advantage over Wise. I'm going with this. Great, I draw the Z, and that's good because it means my opponent doesn't have it. I'm 130 points in the lead. And the rack is balanced. Remaining tiles fairly bingo-y, but slightly vowel heavy. Drillers is available in row O. Only 27 points, so that's fine. Res is good, and Res takes nothing after it, so I could have a play in column 14 beginning with the Z. Well, I could play... I was going to say I could play Whiz, exactly where my opponent has played. So, what can I do here? So there's 5 tiles left. I've got Les. The game is won. I've got Les. Do I have something better? Les keeps WIIT, which isn't great. I could play While and hold back the Z. Let me see what the scores look like. So While for 43. Am I going to be able to play my Z? Foe takes an S and an N. I don't have either of those on my rack. Tiz is good. So it's a nice rack leave. Les 54, it's a bigger score. Yeah, I'm going with this. I draw the S. My opponent probably has the blank. Les may not have been best, but I don't think it can be a bad score, a bad play. This board is super tight with this ladder running up the middle of the board. It takes out the whole top of the board, so places to play anything are really limited. So if I had the Z on this rack, I wouldn't be looking at a massive scoring opportunity. I wouldn't even be able to get the Z tripled. Now, only a few seconds on my opponent's clock. Fantastic. She plays Vug. 5 minutes on my clock. Bag's empty. I can see what my opponent's got. A great rack for bingos, and there are no bingo lanes on this board. Not even one, which is quite unusual. So, if my opponent can't bingo, it means she can't go out in one because it's the same thing when the bag is empty. Therefore, can I go out in two? And it's going to be tricky with WU and 2 I's. But I've got a few minutes to look around and see what I can see. I'm drawn to the G because it's out in the open. And also it goes quite well with my opponent's rack, so my opponent could well play there. I can't play above it. I've got nothing which goes in front of the U. I could just play UG. That's pretty lame. So I think I'll ignore that if I can find an out in 2 elsewhere. So I could play whiz and foes and leave etui on my rack. 4 minutes on my clock. Well, there may not be an out in 2 here. It's hard to see anywhere on the board that I can play 4 tiles. Nothing goes between O, E and L. So does that change anything? Just thinking about playing UG. Mainly to frustrate my opponent. Three minutes on my clock. What about a play through the U? Or what about a play down from the G, which isn't getting tripled? Wow, what a horrendous final rack to be, or a final board to be considering. And there really is just hardly anywhere to play anything. Just seeing what Sui would look like, keeping white. I'm looking at trying to create an opening which I can use and my opponent can't, but since my opponent's got the blank, that's almost impossible. Les only takes a Z after it. I'm inclined to go for score. Do I play was or whiz? I think I'll play whiz because the U is more useful than the duplicate I. Whiz for 21. So I've got etui, nowhere to play it. Yeah, 21 points for my opponent, which is fine. And she probably will be going out with IO blank. So do I have anything I can do with etui? Just looking at ER to see what hooks it. Just my E hooks it, so I think the best I can do is ET. This is such a bitty end to the game, but it's fine since I'm miles ahead. Well, let's do something a bit better than that. So that was Et for 7. I can do Isa for 17. Fantastic, that's good. Opponent will surely be going out now, and does. And the final score, 285 to my opponent, 449 to me, a winning margin of 164 points, so a huge, huge win. Let's see what I missed. It was my opponent to go first. Quite a nice rack. No bingo. No bingos. Now, did I miss a bingo here? No, I didn't. Great. So no anagram of Visement. I played Vim for 23, and that's definitely better than Maven for 24. AN adds a lot more than 1 point to a rack leave of ST. So that's Vim. Opponent's rack. Plays O. I play Stand from a pretty ropey rack and board. Opponent plays Waifed. And I played Ducks, what was also available, H6. Pix and P. Right, in the same spot as I played Ducks. I could have played Pix, but I prefer Ducks. It's 2 fewer points, but I think the I is worth 2 more than the U. At least. Not a great rack for my opponent. Plays Gadji for 40. Now, another bingo-y rack. No bingo. I play Ninja, which isn't on the list here, for 24. Yeah, but I still like it. Nothing stands out as being massively better. Opponent has the blank, Now, does she have this for the whole of the rest of the game? No, because she plays Chin. Right, so this was the rack she played Chin from. Okay. Now, this is a great rack for me because I can get respray down. But look at this. I played it for 88. I could have got 90 for it by making weights. Interesting. I still prefer where I played it because it doesn't open up triple word squares apart from this one in the middle right for a 4-letter play. But that's fine since the R covers the double letter square. Opponent's rack, no bingo. Plays bow. I have ovarian, nowhere for it. Or is there? No, there isn't. So I play Vor for 23. And I could have got a lot more points. C13. For Varia. Ah, yeah. Okay, that probably would have been a better play. Yes, it would. Opponent plays... Wow, she's got Cruller. Anywhere for that? No. Plays Cuter, which is great for me because it gives me Mand and moves me into a 60-point lead. Opponent's rack, no bingo. Plays Drill. And I have Kynin for 40, so I'm now in a 90-point lead, which is pretty strong. Opponent has the blank from here on in. Did she miss a bingo? Yes. Codetta, C4, making Kagu. Difficult one to spot. Plays Cobb. Now, this was quite a tricky rack. E. Well, I don't like F. It opens up column 15. I played FA to snuff out that A bingo lane. Opponent's rack. No bingo. Plays Got. Wow, nothing over 20. So I play Faux for 18 and I still like that. Opponent's rack, Val heavy. Play, or changes. Changes from that. Yeah, that seems pretty fair. My rack. What did I do here? I played OE and I like that. Opponent's rack. Yeah, and I think OE may well have blocked a bingo of gelatos, so further confirmation of its merit. Opponent plays lined. Wipe F14. Okay, don't like that. It opens up column 15. So I play spin for 27. I still like that. Opponent plays bots. Wow. E15. Zeit. Yeah, that would have been the play. 61 points. Instead, I played layers for 54. So, not a disaster, but just not optimal. Opponent plays Vug. And now an end game. N1. Wiz and Kinnins. Yeah, possible. But it's not providing me with an out in 2, which is what I was looking for. I could have played Aegis, EIS, keeping Witchu. Opponent plays Agree. And then I have Isa for 17. And opponent goes out with IOs for 13, which was the best outplay. So, pretty good stuff. Good to be back into winning ways. And let me just see what's happened to my rating. There it is, smashed through the 1800 mark, back up to 1816, so on the up and up. Very tight game, very laddery, very limited opportunities, but that's fine. There are games like that, and if you're ahead, that is absolutely fine. And it's a bit grueling for either player, ahead or behind, because there are fewer opportunities on the board to score, so it can be hard to find any candidate moves, let alone the best one. But it's good to have games like that, especially if you're on the winning end of them. I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.